right here on the left side, sir. Mr.
Chris,
Pratt.
right in front.
Right here, sir.
And Mr. Pratt on the left side. Mr. Pratt.
Hey, straight ahead.
And Mr. and Mrs. Pratt together, please. Chris, Catherine. And Chris, Catherine, those smiles.
It's so much fun. Genuinely, that it's a joyride the whole way through. The music.
This is your opportunity to engage in a very meaningful way. I think you'll understand. Take control of this thing.
And then Charlie.
And Charlie, the front of that suit, sir.
And then Charlie right down the center here. Look at here.
Mr. Day. And
Turn this way to your left and
Jack,
Jack, turn it to your left.
All right. You want it down here? That's where I want it. Down low.
and Mr. Black, can we see the front of the outfit, sir, right here?
And for the girls.
And Miss Taylor Joy on the left.
Nice.
Anya on the left side, Anya. Brogan. And right here, sir.
Keep that coming all the way to
Mr.
the
Rogan,
right.
Jack says, can you just come down a little bit, guys, together?
And then right down the center, looking right at me.
And Jack Sith.
And again.
And then Kevin right next to him here.
Giving them the one eyes right here. There you go. Excellent.
Awesome.
Right next to her, guys, everybody.
I'd like everybody to look at this lens for just a moment, please. Chris, there we go. I'm speaking with authority.
Oh, yeah.
I'm pleading that it's authoritative.
Alex, you get it?
It's like a baseball team. Awesome.
And Chris right here.
Thank you.
All right, everybody, straight ahead.
Right down the middle.
Straight ahead, everybody.
Down in front. Right in front.
Excuse me. And then gentlemen right next to him right here.
Right next to her. Straight ahead, guys. Straight ahead.
And then Matthew.
Right above them,
Right
right
next to
above
him.
them.
Look at here. Hold that. And Matthew, let me get one
Matthew, just one
more.
glance to the left.
Guys, together right here. There we go.
And then right down the center.
One time on the left side, sir. Left side. And that smile, sir.
To your right, looking to your right here. Awesome, thank you.
Right, generous. Could you just turn this way a tiny bit right here?
Straight ahead so we can get the logo.
Chris, look at left.
Gentlemen.
Chris, everybody this way.
The pressure it's very precious to everybody, to you, to me, to everybody who played it from 1985 until now. It's a lot of people. The pressure's on. It hasn't been a movie for 30 years, and finally the IP was given an opportunity to be turned into a film, and so that's not something you want to screw up. And thankfully the pressure's off because I've seen the film and we didn't screw it up. It's freaking awesome. It's just a rare moment. I think it's these kind of moments, and I've had maybe 2 or 3 of them in my career, where at the end of it you just got to make sure you were like stopping and smelling the roses along the way. They're not all like this. This is an amazing combination of multi-generational passion for these characters and a film that really delivers. So we're just like cruising. It's like catching a great wave. I don't surf, but I'm gonna pretend like I do. Catching a great wave, and all of a sudden you're like, wow, this is what it feels like.
So stoked.
Stoked,
So
bruh.
stoked.
That's probably what it feels like. I don't know. I'd probably drown if I tried to surf. But if you're a parent and you have kids, expect to actually enjoy the movie that you're taking your kid to. Sometimes you take them to animated movies because you love your kids, but you don't have to always love their movies because sometimes animated movies suck. Expect to really enjoy this. Expect to be surprised. Expect to have your heartstrings pulled. Expect to find pools of sentiment in your soul you forgot about be opened up, and you'll be swimming in them. It's a really amazing ride, and honestly, I think it's just the beginning.
No, it's a hard thing to wrap your head around.
playing a character that you just grew up playing. Look at that.
Playing the playing.
Playing the playing. It's come full circle. I don't know anyone who hasn't played this game. Maybe my mom and dad didn't play it, but they certainly heard it in their living room. So, yeah, it's great just to be a part of something that's just a part of our culture for so long.
You're playing Mario Kart. Who's your character and why?
Luigi, from now on and evermore. Because I'm Luigi. We're bonded for life. It's an awesome cast. I love those guys. I'm big fans of them all. And just to be like on this team with them, it's a dream come true. Oh my gosh, this movie, it gives you all the stuff that you know and love from the game, and if you don't know and love the game, it's the perfect introduction.
I was so happy and excited when they offered me this role, but I did think I don't want to do it if she's just going to say, "Save me, Mario." I was hoping that that was the direction they were going in. And when I spoke to Illumination and Nintendo and the directors, and that was the direction, it was just great. And I was very, very surprised by how much it moved me to see the film. Genuinely. The concept that this is a role model that kids will grow up with, that this is what they'll see not just as leadership, but female leadership. It's incredible. They're gonna have such a good time, and it feels wonderful. You know, I do a lot of very dark roles, and I have a very soft spot for that. But the idea that this is just a film that's going to bring joy to people, that they're going to love the music, the comedy, the characters, I'm so thrilled to be a part of it.
Bowser really is very heavy metal, if you think about it. He breathes fire, that's like pyro in a heavy metal concert. He's got the spikes, you know.
Yeah.
It's very heavy metal. Yeah. And in the movie, I was glad that they put some heavy metal in the movie. Whenever you saw Bowser on his big, giant, fire-breathing ship with the lava flow, he had like heavy metal music playing. It was a perfect fit for me because, as you know, I love the metal. I'm playing Bowser. When I bust out a Mario Kart, I'm always Bowser. Because that's who I am. I think I'm perfectly suited to the role of Bowser. And when I play Mario Kart, I have to bring out my inner Bowser. I was always a class clown. I was always a ham. If you told 15-year-old Jack Black that I'd be on the red carpet in a Super Mario Brothers movie, my brain would have exploded, and I would have been like really looking forward to my life, really looking forward to my 50s. It's pretty dreamy role for a video gamer from the 80s to be here right now. I'm gonna say 50-year-old Jack Black rocks harder, because in the 80s, that early Jack Black, 15-year-old Jack Black, I think was mostly into like Journey and Styx, which I love those bands, but they don't rock as hard as like Sabbath or like Metallica. I learned a lot about the metal since then.
It's interesting. I don't make a lot of movies that kids can see, nor films that parents have any interest in watching with their children. And so it's kind of new to me. I've done it a couple times now. I don't have kids, but I have. It's interesting having my friends' kids be aware of anything I've done. I'm very used to children just not knowing who I am and not being interested in my work. And yeah, it's weird that kids now have seen things that I'm in. It all actually started with Donkey Kong, and Mario was first introduced in the Donkey Kong game, so technically Mario is a spin-off of Donkey Kong. So I ask you, why is Mario included in the Donkey Kong cinematic universe? It's like really visually beautiful, and the story is really fun and resonant, and they found a way, I think, to like incorporate everything you would hope is in a Super Mario Brothers movie into like really great, big, huge, fun set pieces in a very satisfying way.
そうです。映画になるのが随分時間かかりましたけども、やっぱりお父さんお母さんまで知ってるキャラクターっていうところに僕らたどり着いたので、 これからまだまだ皆さんに一緒に子供と一緒に楽しんでもらえるものを作りたいと思います。
Yeah, so it did take a while to create the movie, but we're at a point where the character's recognized by fathers, mothers, and children. So I'm hoping that we can have this as an opportunity for even more people across generations to enjoy it together.
Illumination has so much respect for Nintendo, one of the finest companies in the world. And the opportunity for us to work with a legend, Miyamoto-san, was just very special, and it's been one of the most gratifying partnerships that we've ever had. They can expect pure joy, lots of nostalgia, and a tremendous amount of discovery.
そうです。そうですよ。マリオとピーチたちが初めて人間のようになった。だから人形から人間に進化したみたいな手応えを感じてます。
For me, it was really seeing Mario and Peach come to life from what it was like a puppet into real life human beings. That was so exciting for me.
It's pretty exciting. I had no idea the impact it was going to have on the crowd, and it's pretty huge. Yeah. Oh, I think they're going to have a good time, a lot of fun. I think it's going to be for folks of all ages, for young and old, and everybody's basically going to be a kid in the audience. So I think they're going to enjoy it.
When you're playing it as a kid, growing up, it's got the limitations of the 8-bit world, or whatever bit rate you're doing in the game. This just blows it wide open, and I'm able to write like new themes for Mario that also work with all the old themes for Mario. I wanted to make sure that all of those things were brought in. It is like a tribute lovingly to all the fans and all of us, fan included, that played the games, but also bring in a whole new world of a new audience too. There's like a new main theme, and that kind of it's interesting. Once you see the movie, they blur together as one, and so you hear the old original that started back in '82, and then it merges into this new greater world melody, because this movie goes as big as E.T. or anything like that, so you have to expand it into that big universe. And for me, that was the joy and challenge, and it was just a part of me. It still is. I mean, it's part of our DNA. It just continues. Total honor, and had a blast. It was great.
This whole thing has been such a dream for me that I'm oh, it's got to be a prank. There's going to be a moment when somebody's going to say, this isn't real. Haha, we got you. But it's real. It's really happening. So it really is a dream come true.
Yeah, and especially to come out of the pandemic. This is a movie that was made in the pandemic. We were all making it inside our homes. We were separated. Somehow the crew was able to pull off the impossible. And now the world is coming back out. We hope this movie is something that people could celebrate together in movie theaters, and it's very exciting for us. I think they could expect to see one of the most beautiful animated movies ever made, with some of the best action set pieces I've ever seen. I'm a little biased, of course, and some of the funniest, most charming characters from a video game literally everybody loves.
This is such an authentic Super Mario Brothers experience. We really wanted to deliver the movie that we never got to see when we were kids.
It was fun to be a part of the movie, I grew up with Mario Brothers, and yeah, I really, asked myself, if you saw this movie out in the world, would you be upset if you were not a part of it? And the answer was yes. I thought it would be something that I really would like, and something that, as someone who, really grew up with this stuff, I would be excited to be in it, and so, so that element was cool. And as far as Donkey Kong specifically, there's a lot of room for interpretation with that character. I don't think he speaks in any version of, he raps, but I don't think he really speaks in the games, and so it was more about trying to come up with a funny character and that had a dynamic that worked well on a scene-to-scene basis with the other characters, and that I was able to feel like I was being funny, that's really was what then I tried to focus on, and they really let me they really let me do that. They gave me quite a bit of freedom, if I recall. They encourage it, especially with voiceover. It's it's so easy to try different stuff, and you're the only one there. So if it's not good, you're not wasting like 200 people's time. You're wasting like 3 people's time, you know? And so it's really like a free and open creative environment, which is one of the reasons I like it so much. Is like it's a lot easier to try a ton of different stuff on one line in a voiceover film than it is a live action film, again, just because of how expensive time is on a live action film set versus in a recording booth, you know? And so, yeah, I improvised a lot and gave them a lot of different options and just tried to throw a ton of stuff at them, and they can then kind of sort through it and see what they like. I mean, to some degree, honestly, but not a ton. Like, once you're making the movie, you just want to make the movie as good as possible, and you don't want to be restricted by those kinds of things. You just got to hope that the movie has been constructed in a way that all that stuff will be served in the best way possible, and from there on out, you're just, you know, I'm just trying to make each individual scene as good and funny as possible, you know? And so, yeah, it's not like I'm in there in the moment being like, oh, like, you know, don't forget, he throws bear. I don't know. Like, it's more like, how do I make this scene funny, you know?
Princess Peach is an incredibly capable and great leader, first and foremost. And if you actually think about it, it makes sense that this is the way that she should have always been played. Because if you're the ruler of the Mushroom Kingdom, and technically it's a flourishing society, if you're constantly being kidnapped and moved from castle to castle, you're not doing a very good job of leading. So I feel like this is the way that she was supposed to be. I think just showcasing that, you know, she's a 3D character. She's not just Save Me Mario. It's not only that. And I feel so grateful that Nintendo, Illumination, and the directors, we were all on the same page. Because when I was first approached to play her, I was so excited and so thrilled, but slightly trepidatious, just because I didn't want to play the damsel in distress. And so I'm really glad that we were all on the same page there. I think I love that you end up in the silliest positions when you're in the vocal booth, because you're trying to imagine everything around you. And so it's kind of like the first time that you do a take, you might feel a tiny bit self-conscious, but there's no room for being self-conscious in a vocal booth. You have to be extremely animated and really like bring everything that you've got to it. So I think I like how silly it can be sometimes. It's unbelievable, and it's the biggest payoff, because you sit down and you see the world that you've been a part of, but so much beauty, artistry, and hard work has gone on when you've not been a part of it at all. And I love sitting down to movies and not knowing anything about them. That's like one of my favorite things to do. And I feel like in an animated project, that's the best of both worlds, because you get to be a part of it and yet still have that surprise and that excitement. I wasn't a gamer growing up. That was my brother's realm, and he was very much like, this is my game. So I was like, oh, okay, I'll go and like play with cats or something. But now I got to have a second childhood with it, and I love it now. I'm highly competitive. It's a bit of a problem, but I hope that that means that I will get better at it, because I will not let it go. If I play really poorly, we're playing like 8 more times, because I have to improve.
Bowser is the most evil character in all of the Nintendo universe. He is Mario and Luigi's arch nemesis, and he is a fire-breathing dragon who wants total control of the Mushroom Kingdom and has a powerful crush on Princess Peach. I was able to bring Bowser's humanity to life, because everyone knows he's a fire-breathing dragon who's filled with evil, but what a lot of people don't know is that he's also very insecure, and also very jealous, and very petty, and very greedy, and I got to explore all those nooks and crannies. I got to improv tons. I would always do the lines as written. That's the pro job. You got to do it as written, give them what they want, and then at the end, I would always be like, hey, can I try another take just for fun? And they'd be like, of course. And that's where I'd do some stuff that was maybe a little edgier, maybe a little crazier. and a lot of stuff that obviously is not going to make it in the movie, but I just want to try it just for fun. And sometimes that stuff does make it in the movie. So my connection with Nintendo goes all the way back to when I was like 12 years old. The first time I played Donkey Kong in the arcade, early 80s. Incredible experience that I, along with the rest of the world, had with that first video game. Because it was the first real video game that kind of told a story. You got Mario, is going to save the princess and fight against Donkey Kong. Who, really, let's be honest, it was just King Kong, giant gorilla. But they called him Donkey Kong so they wouldn't get sued. And you know, before that, it was just like Pac-Man. There's no story. It's just a weird yellow lemon that eats dots. This time it had a beginning, middle, and an end. And then you follow Nintendo all the way through Super Mario Brothers, Super Mario Brothers, and they slowly, over the decades, have built this huge universe of characters and storylines that is really unparalleled in the world of video games. Hats off to Nintendo for incredible, what's the word I'm looking for? Universe. So I got to see the movie early, an early cut of it, and I was so blown away because when you're recording the voice, you don't really have a clear image of what it's going to look like. What are these characters going to look like? What are the backgrounds going to look like? And it looks like it cost $1 billion. It looks so good. And the colors are so vibrant. It's almost like psychedelic. You feel like you're on a trip. You're like, oh. And you know, the details, when you go close up on Mario's eyeballs and the way it like glimmers and gleams and the reflectiveness of his face and his features and just like the fields of mushrooms and all of this incredible rainbow backgrounds, it was just sort of like amazing.
Well, Toad is a character that lives in the Mushroom Kingdom that is ruled by Princess Peach. And he is a very gung-ho member of the kingdom. He absolutely, positively loves where he's from. And when he encounters Mario, he wants to show Mario everything about this wonderful place where he lives. He's also a stout defender of the Mushroom Kingdom. He would do anything he has to do to protect his home, and he has this really willing spirit to go out on an adventure and do anything. In fact, he wants to adventure more than he wants to do anything else in his life. Well, you know, I've been in the booth. I've done so many voiceovers. I've done several voiceover animated films where I've done voiceover for it. And this one is really special because I had the opportunity to really do a voice that's so completely different from my voice. Sometimes you go into the booth and somebody wants you to have a voice that's very similar to yours so that everybody kind of recognizes it's you, and you will not be able to recognize it's me in this movie. And that to me was a really proud accomplishment. Well, when I created the voice for Toad, what I wanted to do was kind of emulate a friend of mine who has these very particular patterns and rhythms. So I was using my friend as the model. And then when I got to the director, I was using my voice as you hear it now. And the director was like, I like what you're doing. Can you get it a little bit higher? And I was like, oh, yeah, sure. I get a little bit higher. And he says, can you get it even higher than that? And I'm like, yeah, I can get it a little bit higher than that. And he's like, can you get it higher than that? And I was like, let's see how tight these pants are. I mean, you know what I mean? And so we got it up there. And then what I did, I started thinking about just, Keegan, just pretend you're on helium. Just pretend you're on helium the whole time. And then I would just imagine myself sucking on a helium balloon so I could get to the voice. Just using a little bit of the old imagination, if you will. I tried to stay on the page as best as I could because this movie, the story and the plot lines are very lean and very exciting in and of themselves. But I was given a lot of leeway to improvise. In fact, it kind of ended up on the cutting room floor, but I ended up improvising an entire song for the movie where Toad finally gets to go on an adventure, which he's been waiting for his whole life. He finally gets to go on this adventure, and I got to do that. So I got to actually improvise his little adventure song, and that was a lot of fun. So the director gave me a lot. He actually gave me quite a bit of freedom. My first recollection of Nintendo gaming would have been Donkey Kong. That was my game. So that original appearance of Mario is my experience of the Nintendo world. And I just remember I played it and played it and played it and played it until the TV froze. The TV was like, no more, we can't take any more. And the Nintendo just kept on going and kept on going.
Man, I can't believe it. I am Mario. I can't believe it. You say it, Sean, or you say that to me, and it's pretty wild. It was truly a dream come true, man. What an extraordinary gig. I grew up loving the Super Mario Brothers, getting an opportunity to help create that voice with the directors and Michael and Aaron and myself, kind of rolling up our sleeves and figuring out what this guy sounds like, what the movie version of this guy sounds like. It was a lot of fun. It was really challenging and incredibly rewarding.
I absolutely love getting to be Luigi. He's such a fun character. His sort of nervous tendencies, his great big heart. It was a good character to play, and I just had so much fun doing it. And it just felt really like lucky and privileged to get the chance to do it, and made sure I just enjoyed every second of it. Which say, hey man, listen, this is a huge opportunity. You're lucky to get it. Appreciate it. So I loved it. Still enjoying it right now.
A lot. I had a lot of leeway to improvise and to colloquialize, and really that's sort of the beauty of this medium is they're just rolling audio, and you can just say a million different versions of the same line, and you know what the character's trying to say, and so you can say what's written, you can say what's not written to attempt to, get that meaning across, and really you just throw a million things at the wall and you see what sticks. And then when they cut together a little bit of the movie and show it back to you, they say, okay, this is the stuff that's really working. Let's work in this area. So you're constantly refining and the voice is constantly evolving, and you get immediate feedback from like your previous sessions to determine which tone is right and which sound is right or how much of the accent is right. And so it was a real challenge, and man, I loved it. I hope we can do some more.
I didn't approach it differently. I always kind of come at it like, all right, who's the character? What kind of voice do I want to do? It's never going to sound too different from my own voice, because I think I have a distinct sounding tone. But what was different was just the reach of these characters and the scale of this movie, and the fact that everyone has a relationship with them for the last 30 some odd years that the game's been around. Which I think occurred to me a little bit after the fact, and I'm glad that it did, because I might have gotten nervous, although that would have been fine for the character. So, the whole thing, beginning to end, was an interesting journey, and I really enjoyed it. I kind of wish I could be recording more Luigi right now. I really just kind of got into it and fell in love with the guy.
Being a fan of the game certainly had an effect on the way that I saw the movie when it was cut together. And I think, just knowing the music, knowing the beats, being able to pick out all the Easter eggs, knowing all of these characters, that's a big part of the joy of this film watching experience. If you've never met the Mario Brothers before, you don't know them, you're still going to be introduced to a world you're really going to love, and you'll totally understand it. And if you do know the characters, there's a ton of sentiment and nostalgia and all of that stuff. So that being a fan of the game really had an impact on how I saw the film. But in terms of approaching it, technically, I knew a lot about the character. I was able to be part of that collaborative team to help bring the story to life, to determine who he is, where should we meet him, how should we meet him, what does he care about, all of the elements that you need to develop in a character when in a narrative format, a 90-minute movie, that you don't necessarily need to know to play a video game. I was part of those decisions, and that was really exciting, and maybe being a fan of the game helped in my input that I gave in the way that the technique that but not necessarily the technique to creating the voice.